He was the most successful British-born fighter ace of the Battle of Britain, but he wasn't a career soldier. He was a farmer's son who became a reluctant national hero. His friends called him Sawn Off Lockie because he wasn't a tall man, but in the cockpit of a Spitfire, he was an absolute giant. So how does a pilot who survived the most ferocious air combat the world had ever seen just vanish? This is the story of Eric Locke, a man whose incredible rise to fame is matched only by the mystery of how it all ended. Eric Stanley Locke was born near Shrewsbury in 1919, the son of a man who owned a farm and a local quarry. It was expected he'd join the family business, but Eric's eyes were always turned to the sky. With war brewing in Europe, he joined the Royal Air Force Volunteer Reserve in 1939. He figured if he had to fight, he was going to do it as a pilot. By the summer of 1940, as the Battle of Britain raged, he was flying a Spitfire with the legendary No. 41 Squadron. His fellow pilots quickly took to calling him Sawn Off Lockie because of his short stature. The name stuck, but anyone who underestimated him quickly learned that what he lacked in height, he more than made up for with pure skill and aggression. In the air, Locke was a natural. His talent for aerial combat was almost unnerving. At the height of the battle, his performance was simply unbelievable. Over one 19-day stretch, he shot down 15 German aircraft. By the time the battle was over, his official score stood at 21 confirmed kills, making him the top British-born ace of the entire campaign. His style was pure, relentless aggression. Locke would push his attacks with a ferocity that was terrifying, often getting impossibly close before opening fire. This made him a nightmare for the Luftwaffe's best, especially the formidable Messerschmitt Buff 109s. His success didn't go unnoticed. In what felt like the blink of an eye, he was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross, then a second one, and then the Distinguished Service Order. He became a household name, a symbol of Britain's refusal to break. But that fame came at a brutal price. In November of 1940, Locke's luck seemed to run out during a dogfight with a huge formation of enemy fighters. His Spitfire was torn to shreds by cannon shells. His right arm and both legs were badly injured. Despite the horrific wounds, he somehow wrestled the crippled plane back towards England and crash-landed in a Suffolk field. His war in the sky was over, but a new battle had just begun. Locke spent the next 6 months in the hospital, enduring 15 separate operations as surgeons fought to save his limbs. He was a patient of the pioneering plastic surgeon Archibald McIndoe, and his wardmate was another famous ace, Richard Hillary. It was there, in his hospital bed, that he was awarded the Distinguished Service Order for his magnificent fighting spirit. For most people, that would have been the end of the war. But Eric Locke wasn't most people. Against all medical advice and the quiet pleas of his family, Locke was determined to fly again. In June 1941, he was past fit for duty. He was promoted to flight lieutenant and given command of a flight in No. 611 Squadron. Once again, he was flying offensive sweeps over France, taking the fight to the enemy and adding to his impressive tally. A letter he sent home around this time shows a man who was growing weary, but his sense of duty never wavered. He was a national hero, and he seemed determined to live up to that legend. It was that same relentless drive, the very thing that made him an ace, that would lead him straight into one of World War II's most enduring mysteries. On the morning of August 3rd, 1941, Locke took off for what the RAF called a rhubarb, a low-level ground attack mission over northern France. While flying near Calais, he radioed his wingman that he was going to attack a column of German troops on a road below. He peeled his Spitfire away and dove, and then nothing. He was never seen again. No one saw his plane get hit. No wreckage was ever found. No German pilot claimed shooting him down. The most common theory is that he was hit by ground fire during his attack and crashed, perhaps into the English Channel. But without a plane or a body, we can't be certain. The entry in his squadron's logbook that day says it all. It seems a ruddy, awful waste to lose so great a pilot on so trivial an expedition. Flight Lieutenant Eric Locke was just 22 years old when he disappeared. In just 25 weeks of combat flying, he had shot down 26 enemy aircraft and become a beacon of hope when his country needed one most. His body was never found. He has no grave. Today, his name is carved on the Runnymede Memorial, alongside thousands of other airmen who were lost without a trace. The story of the Shropshire farmer's son is one of incredible bravery and skill, but it's also a story of sacrifice that ends not with a period, but with a question mark that hangs there to this day. If you find stories of wartime courage and unsolved mysteries compelling, consider subscribing for more military history. I'm really curious to hear your own theories. What do you think happened to Eric Locke on that final, fateful mission? Let us know in the comments below.